There we go.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome. This is our regular city council meeting for August the 11th of 2025. We'll start with a roll call, please.
Weber.
Here.
Hannah.
Yes.
Moore.
Here.
Maynor.
Present.
Persater.
Here.
O'Laughlin.
Yes.
Jensen.
Yes.
Next, we need a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 7-0. Next, we move to public comments. Did you have anything? Hearing none, we'll then move to the next item, which is item number 5. I need a motion to accept and approve the consent agenda, which consists of the following: the minutes of the July 28, 2025 regular meeting, and the Pat's Tap Class C retail alcohol license renewal that includes living quarters and outdoor service, with a tentative effective date of September 1, 2025 through August 31, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Again, this would be a consent, so all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 7-0. Next, we move to the financials, item number 6. I need a motion to approve the claims for payment.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 7-0. Did we work out the bank reconciliation?
There's a notice in there about it.
No, bank rec is on, it's the next one. That's
Yes.
Okay, so
Revenues.
bank reconciliation for information only. Anybody have any questions or comments with regard to it? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to item number 8, which is revenues and expenses to date.
Yeah, and this is the one where we don't have all the information in there because with the transition to the new finance system, we just haven't gotten, it's been a lot. So
Sure.
Susie in her office has been doing a lot of work to get us moved over.
And this is
Are moved over.
mandated. People need to know that Susie does this for us.
Right, yeah,
And it's
Very
very
beneficial.
nice.
yeah. So we plan to have that on the 25th. We'll have more of the information back on there then.
Okay, next we'll move to the petitions from the public. Item number 9, this is the presentation for the Buchanan County Emergency Medical Services, EMS, Essential Services Levy proposal. Dan, how are you?
Good.
Come join us.
I would love to. All righty. So I just want to kind of give you guys an overview of the proposal that we gave to the supervisors. Hopefully answer any questions, clarify anything, make sure everybody's on the same page. You guys are the first of the councils that we're going to through the county. So hopefully if there's any questions that pop up here, I assume other councils, other people would have them as well. So don't be shy. First of all, we went through this last year. Not too much has changed. We updated some things, tweaked some wording, made it more manageable for people to understand what it is we're actually trying to do, and solidified it in a budget, in a plan. Last year it was kind of wishy-washy on what the supervisors were going to do as far as a county-owned service, a private service, whatever. They have made it very clear they do not want to renew contracts with the current ambulance, and they want to start a county-owned ambulance service to cover that district. So just to clarify, this would not be a county-wide service. It'd be a county-owned service. So it would not reach county border to county border. It would just be AMR's current district is what the plan would be.
In the event of need, though, you guys could
Expand.
fill in if there was a call for.
Yes, yep. So all mutual aid agreements would be signed, everything like that. That's part of state law that if you have a service, you have to have mutual aid agreements with your partners. So that way, if you can't fulfill a call, someone else is coming. There's always going to be somebody coming. Yep. And that would work both ways. So if, just how it does now, if Jessup or Fairbank needs an ambulance and they're not available, AMR gets sent. So essentially, same thing as last year. We know there's a need for EMS improvement in the county from the first responder standpoint and from the ambulance standpoint. So that's where this got brought up. This was not an option before 2021. There was no way for the county to tax specifically for this before 2021. They changed Iowa code to allow for up to 75 cents of taxable valuations. So property taxes, or up to a 1% income surtax. The recommendations of the advisory council is just to do the taxable valuations. The income surtax only generates like $250,000. It's a lot of a headache for not a lot of improvement, not a lot to show for it. So we're just going to leave that one as it sits. And you can do this up to 15 years. Our recommendation is for the 15 years. Again, we can show the need for that. So you guys have this proposal, right? Okay, so on page 3 is a list of our recommendations that the council, which I should clarify in case somebody doesn't know, the advisory council is made up of representatives from every single EMS agency based in Buchanan County, as well as Matt, Chris Even from Jessup, Gerald Denny from Winthrop. That was the Board of Supervisors council, that the advisory council they put together, and it has worked beautifully, I think. So our recommendations were 75 cents per thousand of taxable valuations, no income surtax for the 15 years. The funds that are generated, which would be just over $1 million as of the current taxable valuations or assessed values, that would be just over $1 million. With that, it would get broken up into 3 broad pots, and you can kind of see on the next page, page 4, how that's broken down into the Fairbank district, the Jessup district, and the rest of the county. The reason we have it that way is so that money generated from valuations in Fairbanks district goes back to Fairbanks Ambulance Service. Same thing in Jessup, it goes back to Jessup's ambulance service. The rest of the county is all in one pot because the majority of it is serviced by AMR currently, and all the areas that are not serviced by AMR are serviced by ambulances outside of the county. So we're talking Mercy One in Owine, Regional in Manchester, and we have nothing against them. They provide great services, but we want to focus our money on our first responders locally. So the rest of the money goes in to support the ambulance coming out of Independence, which hopefully would be county owned, and also to support the first responder services. Fairbank and Jessup, if they had first responders, then they would split their money with the first responders in that district, but they don't. It's just the ambulance services there. They don't have near as big of a response district as the rest of the county does. So we want to support our first responders. We want to support our ambulances. You can see the breakdown there, total of $1 million. Based on the taxable valuations of each district, Fairbank would get about $67,500. Jessup would be about $172,000, and then the rest of the county is that $762,000. You break that off into $50,000 for the first responders, the rest for the ambulance. As you keep going in pages 6 and 8 is the proposed budgets for the ambulance service. That was a big thing that we heard last year, is people wanted to see more defined numbers. We did a lot of estimating last year. That obviously didn't sit well with people, totally understand that. So this year we came up with a lot more defined numbers. And as you look through it, you see the costs are just ridiculous. I mean, an ambulance itself, just the box on wheels, you're talking $300,000 brand new. That's just the box. No cot, no monitors, no ventilators, no supplies, nothing. So that's why we're asking for the full 75 cents, because you can see the need for it. One thing we added in is on the ballot language, we put in to do up to 75 cents. That way, if in 5, 10 years, whatever it is, we say, hey, all of our capital expenses are bought. We just have operating costs. We don't, unless something crazy happens, a disaster, whatever, there shouldn't be any big surprises here. Let's start backing this down. We don't need money sitting around. We just need to be sustainable. So if we evaluate year by year, as the advisory council is supposed to, and in 5, 10 years we say, hey, we can cut this with 70 cents or 65 cents.
But
we make that recommendation.
how often would they replace ambulances, though?
So our proposal is to start off with 2, 1 new one. The reason being, your 2 used ones are going to get you on the ground going right away. The third one that's new, you're not going to see for about 1.5 years, 2 years. So once that one comes in, you start a rotation cycle to replace them about every 5 years. Yep, and that's in the budget. On the second year budget, we budgeted an estimated $60,000 a year to replace an ambulance every 5 years. And obviously that's based on current prices, be evaluated year by year.
Dan, did the supervisors approve the language for the
So
this morning?
No, they did not approve. So they sent it out for kind of third-party evaluation, make sure it all looked good. The feedback they got back was that the way the code is written, there needs to be like a dollar amount in there. We had some discussion at their meeting today on what that would look like. They're going to take it back with a couple questions to that third party and just clarify what it's actually going to say.
You've seen other ballot initiatives, though. The other counties didn't have dollar amounts, did they?
So from when I was there this morning, same thing I kind of brought up with them is 28 counties in Iowa have brought this to a vote. 21 of them have passed. Of those 21, only 4 of them have an actual dollar amount listed. The rest are just, 75 cents per thousand or, the actual rate. But I'm not a lawyer, like I kind of told them. If the lawyers are telling you one thing, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just telling you what I can see from across the state. And if you look, every county is a little different based on their needs, but Appanoose County did the 75 cents plus the 1% surtax. And then you get to, I want to say it was, Butler County. They gave a range. They said 14 cents up to 75 cents plus a 1% surtax. So this is all based on the specific needs of that county. So they don't have any specific language set yet.
I'd be concerned about the voters looking at a dollar amount as opposed to a 75-cent number. So I'm not sure why they think that that's necessary, but I guess they've got somebody that they've got looking at it.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head which company that they talk with. It's someone they've used before, obviously, but the wording they're talking about is Chapter 422D. It's the Iowa code that allows us to do all this.
Right. Subsection
2C, it talks about establishing and voting and all that, and it says shall recommend to the Board of Supervisors an amount of funding to be specified on the ballot is the wording that this has. That I assume that's what they're referencing. I can't find anything else in there.
Right, but wouldn't it's a calculated amount, so you need to know how many residents you have. You need to do your math on the 70 cents, your assessed values on the properties and everything else to come up with a dollar amount.
So of the 4 counties, I think it was 2 and 2. I believe it was 2 and 2. 2 of them just listed a flat rate that they were going to do, say 14 cents up to, or 14 cents generating 150,000 and just done. And once they hit that 150,000, it's all done. Other counties, the other 2 counties did not to exceed. So they had 75 cents not to exceed 750,000 or whatever it was. I believe, I don't want to speak for the supervisors, obviously, but in our discussion today, that was kind of what was discussed of, well, if we did a not to exceed amount, as long as that not to exceed amount doesn't limit us, if you keep it, I don't want to say high enough, but if you keep it high enough to where we're not going to run into issues, the advisory council, we don't see an issue with that.
Yeah, because I could see a problem where 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we're still into the 15-year. County's grown exponentially, and all of a sudden our dollar amount is much greater at the 75 cents.
Yep, and you have to remember too, we're just trying to be sustainable. So if we can show that at 1.5 million we can make everything work, well then the 2.5 million cap is kind of, we don't necessarily need it. Right. But again, you never know where taxable valuations go up, or if costs go up, if we have some issues, whatever. Yeah, my concern would be it would limit us. But again,
right, because you'll reduce the 75 cents if the number's high enough on the assessed values of everything.
correct.
I think you could make the argument that 75 cents per $1,000 of valuation does represent an amount.
Oh, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah,
That's gonna be-
I can't imagine what the problem is from the
That's
dollar.
gonna
Well,
be up to
I
them
think
to deal
the
with.
way I read the board, and you were there, and they were debating on how that is verbalized on, because they said one lawyer would look at it, well, if you have the 75 cents per thousand, that tells you the amount, where another lawyer may look at it, well, no, we need a true dollar value. And
But it's
so,
also based on precedent. If there's 20, out of 21 counties, if there's only 4 that actually listed a dollar amount, I would say the
Correct.
precedent's already been set that a per $1,000 valuation is sufficient.
and I actually think
But
when it comes to the ballot time, if you don't have a 1.5 or 1.7 or $2 million on there, people are not going to look at it the same as if it's just the percent. I think the percentage-wise is the better way to make it pass.
I don't know that I disagree with you, but I think that when individuals are trying to figure out what this is going to cost them a year, I think we need to have that in there so that they can figure that. If they're looking at a total, it's difficult to figure out what portion of that is theirs.
No,
It's a single household.
no, I
I
understand.
agree with what you're saying.
But that's listed here, and that was a question I was going to ask was, are you going, when you're putting out the pamphlets and flyers to get the public familiar with this, are you just going to use that one 2-page part, or are you going to actually do the part where it breaks down, a $100,000 home is this much per year, $200,000 home is
It's already
that?
listed.
It's already
It's in here, but is that going to be, that's on ours, but what are you going to put out to the public?
listed on
You're
the,
referring to this? The
Yes.
flyer? Yeah.
Yes.
So this flyer, this is a crappy one. The ink ran out, but these are, we have generic ones that is what you guys have, that's just kind of an overview of the entire county. And then we've made specific ones for each area. So this, how you see it now is what could get sent out in flyers, it could get given to the newspapers, to whoever, for them to kind of get the basic information. And
So it
then we have
was-
specific, sorry, go ahead.
it was listed on the memo, that's the documentation that I prepared for this item. But in the packet, on page 54 of our packet, is the flyer that came from the committee, and at the bottom left corner of that page, it outlines
There's 5 examples.
100,000, 200,000, 238,000, which is the median property value in Buchanan County.
Right.
250,000 and 500,000, and shows what it costs per year for this service.
I said this goes out to everybody, and then each area has a specific one. So like on the back, it has information specific to that area. So if you live in Raleigh's district, it's going to have information specific to Raleigh.
We do mailers last time.
Nope.
We're actually going to send them out to each household this year.
We're not.
No, somebody is.
The problem.
You, I thought you were going to hand deliver them all.
I'll hand deliver them. That's fine. The problem with mailing is the cost.
Right.
Yeah, just not feasible to do, to mail it out to the entire county. But
As opposed to a postcard or something like that? At least those are less expensive.
pretty much, so where we
That
sit
online?
right now is the advisory council does not have any funding. Everything we have for flyers, for signs, whatever, is donated, or the EMS Association has fronted money for it. And the EMS Association just doesn't have the money to do any kind of mailers. So unless somebody donates the money for that, we wouldn't send anything out.
And the county's position on that is that at this point in time, that they're not willing to fund that as well.
I don't know the legalities of their ability to do that, I should say, to fund something.
That's a ballot initiative that,
Campaign for, again.
yeah, that
There's
may
a
be.
very fine line between
Yeah, you're
educating
absolutely
and
right.
advocating.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
Very fine line.
But
I was going to point out on the cost, the median property that you have listed in here is $238,000. That's $178.50 per year. If you divide that by $12, that's less than $15 a month.
Yep.
People may pay more than that for a Netflix subscription that doesn't get them EMS service if they have a problem.
Yep.
So
Are you saying it needs to be broken down more for people to truly digest it?
I'm just saying that when you take the yearly cost and you divide it by a monthly rate and equate it to your normal utility bills and other bills that you pay, this is a very low cost, even though it's 75 cents per $1,000 of property valuation. I get the tax implications of that. But when you break it all the way down like that, it's pretty low cost for what you get out of it if you need it.
2 copies.
I got a question. Would it be illegal for these flyers to be sent, like, Jessup Electricity Company, however they send their bills and stuff? Would that be against the law or not? How would that work?
Are you
Like
thinking-
our power company here, could it be put in with the power statement so you could
Well,
mail them out that way?
Couple things there. First off, ILPT is going to tell you that inserting something in their bill that they already send out is incredibly expensive to do. You'd honestly I think it probably would be cheaper for you to just do the mailings themselves.
Really? Okay. I was just curious.
That's one thing. The other thing of it is the legality side of it, I can't answer 100%, but I would expect that you're getting close to that advocacy line, and city governments cannot advocate for things. We can educate, we can share the information, we can share the facts, but we cannot advocate for things to be passed.
I was just trying to figure out a way that we can get it out to as many people as possible.
When will the flyers be available to hand out?
So all the flyers as of a day or two ago are done. It's just a matter of getting them printed and getting them sent out. So I've been kind of reaching out to the different agencies and saying, hey, how many do you want to start with for your area? And we can, once they give me numbers, I can start printing them and getting them out to those areas to put up. Yep. So if you guys want any, I can
I
start
would,
get some.
I would take some.
I would take a bunch of them because I can get them placed in quite a few different businesses.
Absolutely.
So I would definitely take some.
Yep. And just a few other things I want to hit on quick. One of the big things with this, as far as starting a county-owned ambulance service, is the insurance side of things. Right now, there's issues with Blue Cross Blue Shield not working with AMR or vice versa, whatever. I'm not inside that. I just know they don't work together. And then that puts the entire cost onto the patient, and insurance doesn't cover anything. That is, if we have a county-owned service, you can control those contracts. You can make those agreements with Blue Cross Blue Shield to make sure that bills are paid. Right now, unfortunately, we can't do that because we're not, AMR's a private company. They make their own contracts. So having the control at the county level gives us a lot more ability to address concerns in the county and not based out of a regional office in a different state. The other thing would be hiring, like getting staff for the ambulances and the first responders and getting them equipped. So, for example, Winthrop right now has 2 responders. They have an EMT and a paramedic. Paramedic works full-time in Cedar Rapids as a paramedic, and so that cuts down the time that they're available, right? So we want to be able to get each area, each service, the staffing that they feel is necessary to adequately respond 24/7, 365 to medical emergencies. But also, you have people there, but they need equipment. They need AEDs, they need, tourniquets, they need, ideally get a Lucas device, the mechanical CPR device, so that we can get patient care elevated, which is going to increase your survivability. Right now in Winthrop or Winthrop's district, you're hoping that one of those 2 is available, that they show up with their own personal med bag and they're using their own supplies to start caring for the patient. And when an ambulance is, say you're down off the Buffalo and you're in the middle of Regional and Independence, you're waiting 15, 20 minutes. By the time you call 911, gets to dispatch gets it out, the ambulance crew gets up, gets to the ambulance, starts driving, plus the drive time, 15, 20 minutes is not unheard of. And a lot of bad things can happen in that amount of time. Same thing with Lamont right now. Strawberry Point Ambulance has been struggling for years. So if you're in Lamont's district, you are waiting at least 30 minutes for an ambulance because they're coming from either Independence or from Manchester. And 30 minutes is just unacceptable in my opinion. So this would be something that would help our Lamont first responders who now have to manage a patient for 30 minutes to get them what they need. One other big thing, 28E agreements. So we want to make sure that moving forward, the funding split up between the county, Jessup, and Fairbank stays that way. We don't want anyone to feel that they're getting, money taken from them or that, they're going to be undermined or whatever. So we recommended to the supervisors to implement a 28E agreement between those 3 entities to cover that, to show that, hey, the money is going to come in. It's going to go into an EMS trust fund by law. It cannot come out for our 28E agreement. It cannot come out of that trust fund unless it is distributed in that 3-part way. We don't have it in writing yet. I know there's last year some discussions on how it wanted to be worded. So the supervisors and the people who had some questions, I have been in discussion with the county attorney to make sure the wording is all good to go there. Those are the kind of the highlights. Any other questions?
Are you in a position where you can talk all about, or do you know anything about the fact that because the county would have to have the ambulances in place long before they would actually have funding, what's going to happen in the interim period up until the time that the funding would actually come in? So you've got to, it passes, and then there's a period of time before the money actually is generated and comes in. What happens in the interim?
So in the meantime, the county has been in talks with their bonding companies or their bonding people to look at, okay, if this passes in November, when would we start buying equipment? And then working with the bonding people to say, okay, here's what we can do for bonding, here's the money you can get. We did have we had a bonding meeting, a discussion on what we would purchase as a county prior to July of '26 and what would be purchased after, because that will make a difference to the bonding agencies. And ideally, it would be you have all of your equipment, you have all your staff, AMR's contract is up October of '26, and ideally, at least a month or two before that, if they just decided to say, screw this, which I don't think they will, but just saying they did, we would have everything ready to go.
Okay.
Yep.
Sounds good. I just want to make sure that was being discussed too.
Yep. And that honestly, that's kind of the biggest headache, I guess, is that bond, because we're such short notice from the end of their contract, we can't wait for that first tax payment to come in. We've got to start buying stuff before that. So now we have a bond payment to make, and that makes the budget very, very, very tight until that bond is paid off. So they've been working with the bonding agencies to figure all that out. I don't know what the numbers look like. I just know they gave us the green light and said, yeah, this will work. It's going to be a headache.
Perfect.
Because if I understand correctly, when it passes this fall, the taxes are not going to start rolling in until '26,
Yep. So
till the tail end of '26.
AMR's contract is up October of '26, and I believe, I'm pretty confident on this one, I'd have to look back at my notes, but the first payment from the taxes wouldn't come in until that September, a month before the contract is up, which obviously you can't wait that long.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So it's going to be roughly a year before any of the funds really start rolling in.
Correct. Yep.
And I know we all know this, but only the county can obtain the money from the levy itself. No cities are eligible for it based on the state law.
Correct. Yep. And so then, like, the funding for Jessup and Fairbank, because they're city-owned ambulances, that money goes to the city. They create their own budget based off of that and use that money how they see fit for their district. However, all funding requests would go, our recommendation, what the supervisors approved, is all funding requests would come to the advisory council to review, and then to the supervisors for final approval or denial. So that way, we don't have a whole bunch of frivolous stuff going in front of the supervisors. And as an advisory council, we can make recommendations of, yes, this is needed. We can show, why it's needed, or no, we're not gonna, that's not a good use of money. Obviously, it's tax money, so the supervisors have ultimate say in how that's used. The advisory council just gets to make those recommendations. But it's hopefully a step of accountability to make sure that money is being used appropriately, and it can't be used for anything other than EMS. So that would be a big one. But then also, if we don't need to get 200 jump bags right away. Okay, well, let's look at what else we can use this money on, if we need anything else for that with that money, or is this a time frame where we're 10 years down the road and we can say, hey, we're sitting good, instead of buying all this frivolous stuff that we don't really need, we just want, why don't we look at backing this down and making it better for the taxpayers? But that's a conversation for a long ways away.
Other questions for Dan?
I do, Dan. Number one, can you, two questions. Number one, can you confirm for us and everybody watching that the housing and staging for both personnel and the ambulances is going to be at BCHC as we currently are now? They're
Yes.
providing that for us, correct?
Yep, talking with them, they have been very helpful and very open to housing the ambulances, housing the staff like they do now. They have some training resources that are really nice out there, and they're just a huge resource, and they are open to being a resource as we go forward.
That's really good.
Yes.
And the other, this is a question I need your help on as I'm talking with people about the EMS and moving forward, what this would look like. And a lot of times, one of the things that I'm getting asked is, and I don't know that you can answer this. If you can, great. If not, I'll look further, is why doesn't Buchanan County Health Center provide an ambulance to Buchanan County, similar to Regional Medical Center that has their own, Old Wine Hospital that has their own?
Sure. I can't, I won't talk for Wade or anybody at the hospital, but just my understanding of why they don't do that. It used to be, People's Memorial, they had an ambulance, got away from that, went to Area because the cost, it wasn't going to work. Area came in and they didn't cost anything. They were self-sufficient. Well, then they wanted some money. It fell out with the county, and then AMR came in. Now we pay a lot of money, but that's how we've gotten away from a hospital-based ambulance. The reason, my understanding, that we don't want to go back to that, or at least the health center doesn't want to, is currently all of their policies, protocols, everything is based on not running an ambulance service. You would have to completely revamp a lot of that because you start getting into HIPAA laws, EMTALA laws. It starts with an S. There's another, I can't think of it. It's like a 4-letter acronym. It's another law that basically they don't want you to send an ambulance out that you own, convince the patient to come back to your hospital, and now you get to bill that patient for everything.
That makes sense.
They're trying to avoid,
Conflict.
yes.
Yeah.
So there's a whole nother set of laws that as soon as you own that ambulance, they kick in, and it's a big headache for everybody. They'd have to revamp all their protocols, policies, and my understanding is that's something that they don't want to touch.
Thank you very much for that information.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And I would say reach out to Wade or Tara at the hospital. They've been phenomenal, wealth of information, so I'm sure they can give you a lot more in-depth than what I can.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else from anybody? Dan, thank you so much. I know you guys, you've been working
Thanks
hard
for
on
all the
this. You've
work
done a
you
really
guys did.
tremendous
Yes, thank you
job. I
very
really
much.
appreciate it.
Anytime. You guys think I'll have my info? Shoot me a text, email, whatever, call anytime. And yeah, if there's any questions that pop up too, if you're talking to people and you're like, oh, hey, I don't know the answer to this, we're an open book. Talk to, Blake Hayward, he's been sitting in on the meetings. Matt's been sitting in on the meetings. All the advisory council members are a wealth of knowledge. So just don't hesitate to reach out.
Perfect, thank you. Dan.
Excellent.
One question, Dan. Where do you have those flyers at that we could pick, like Deb wants some, I want some, where could we pick them up at?
Right now, they're still sitting in my printer, so I will print them off and I can drop them off.
Could you drop them off here at City Hall?
Absolutely.
Or something?
Absolutely. Yep. I will get those done and probably have them to you tomorrow.
And how long before you actually want them put out to the public? Because we're still a few months away.
Totally up to you guys. If you want to, they are ready to be distributed now. So put them wherever you want. We're not trying to wait on that or anything like that.
Okay, I didn't know if you were looking at a certain time frame or not.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. We're gonna get through all the council meetings. We're going to talk at the Economic Alliance. Can't even remember the full name of the Economic Alliance group. We're going to talk with them, and then we're going to get some town halls set up throughout the county. But in that meantime, we're going to be on Facebook. We're going to be getting the flyers out. We'll be talking with hopefully some news stations, newspapers, all that sort of stuff. We are working on a website right now to help take all of this information and put it in something that you can look through and digest at your own time and not listening to me monologue. And videos, getting some kind of snippets of the EMS agencies around the county and why it's needed for their agency, that sort of stuff. So there'll be a whole slew of public education stuff going out, from now on. So yeah, we're not waiting anymore.
Well, and I want to make clear too, part of the reason we're trying to set the website up and do that is so that these flyers and those things can be put on the website. If you wanted to download a bunch and print it off, you could do that. Because government organizations like the city cannot print those flyers and then hand them out. That's not appropriate use of tax dollars.
Right.
So, but if you as individuals want to do that, you absolutely can do that.
An electronic file or link or a QR code would be extremely handy.
Yep,
When do you expect the website to be
soon.
Soon. I would say
to be determined?
within a week.
Okay.
Within a week, yeah. Yep. It's my first time messing with the website, so it's a little slow going, but I've got resources, I got help.
Thank you for everything you've done for this.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move to item 10. This is a resident request to discuss amending City Code Chapter 152.02, which is fence setback requirements. Nathan Hansen is here to talk about this from his perspective.
I'd make a motion that we table this until we have a committee of the whole or a informational meeting.
I second that. You're saying in case we have, for more information, a longer discussion?
Okay, in terms of discussion about your motion to table, obviously I have no problem with you tabling and sending it to a work session. The issue more from my perspective, and this is my perspective only, is that number one, I'm going to let him talk about it anyway. But number two, we're talking about something that where the current ordinance says there's a 3-foot setback. And all we're trying to do is eliminate the 3-foot setback, because right now, he can put a fence up, but it has to be 3 foot from the property line, which if it's 3 foot from the property line, then he's in a position where the neighbor next door, even though he's paying tax on that 3 feet, it has the use of that property because it's on his side of the fence. The Iowa Code 357A16 says that the fence should go on the property line. So all we're saying is, do we really need a work session in order to have a discussion about that, or can we discuss this here now and then decide what the ordinance is going to look like? Because the ordinance isn't ready to go. It'd be the next month, the next meeting that we would have at the end of the month anyway, when the first reading would take place. I mean, if you guys want to have a work session to talk about that, we can certainly have a work session to talk about that. I just don't think it's necessary.
But we made the motion, and we seconded the motion, and you're forestalling it.
No, we're going to have a vote on it right now. We're going to have a vote on it right now. So the motion is to table this and to take it to a work session before we have any further discussion from council about it.
You're not wanting any discussion at all tonight? You guys?
Well, I see no reason that Mr. Hanson can't speak if that's the case, but I don't think that we should be voting on anything, yes or no, whether we do it. Just like you said, the information that you brought up, that our ordinance doesn't match up to what the state does, right there says we should probably have more discussion on it.
Well, and there wouldn't be a vote on this tonight anyway. All we're doing is
Ordinance modification, it would have to be an ordinance for approval by the council, which would have to be
Understood.
at a future council meeting anyway.
So there wouldn't be a vote no matter what you did in terms of that. It would just come, the question is, are we going to have this, an ordinance prepared so that we discussed it and have a first reading of it on the 25th? Or are we going to wait till we have a work session in September, and then it gets the first reading sometime in mid-September?
Well,
And it wouldn't have.
it'd be September 8th would be the first reading then.
Okay, and then you wouldn't have the actual ordinance passed unless there was other things that happened with the ordinance in terms of
Foregoing the other two
foregoing the
readings.
other readings. You wouldn't have anything until October.
Otherwise, it'd be September 8th.
September 8th would be the first reading of it, rather than
What was
August.
the code you cited?
357A16.
Question, Barrett. So since it is moved and seconded, we need to vote, but we are open for discussion right now.
We're open
Before
for
we vote.
discussion in terms of whether or not to table it or not, whether
Correct.
tabling is appropriate
It's open for discussion there.
in
So-
terms of tabling it.
Correct. With the motion to table it, I myself am in favor of having discussion on it at this time, but we have no action at this time, but we still discuss it at this moment, and then we, go with tabling until we have a work session or more time to talk about it.
Yeah,
But I'm still open for discussion on it for tonight, rather than tabling it and saying, no, we're going to table it and not have any discussion.
Another reason for my motion was the fact that in the past with other constituents, we've had them on a work session first. Discuss it, go through it, talk about it, and then come back and vote. We haven't done that with this. So that's what I'm proposing.
No, but the way I'm looking at it is, we could discuss it, and we could still table action for later on, but since it is on the agenda to discuss,
In my
why don't we have
motion,
a temporary, I know, but why don't we have a temporary discussion now, and then we can table it,
Well, you're,
because no decision will be made tonight.
the only decision that's going to be made today, if you table it, you're tabling it till the time of the work session,
Correct.
as opposed to we're waiting until the next meeting when it comes up, when there's an actual ordinance in front of you, and then you have a first reading of the ordinance, which would happen at the end of September.
But if it's tabled, we can't have discussion at all, correct?
We're going to allow Mr. Hanson to talk no matter what, because he's the one that's presented us with
How can
a
you,
resident request. So he has a resident request. All you're tabling is the discussion that you guys would be having with regard to the information that he would have, because you're going to have it at another meeting. There's no voting, there's no action on this tonight anyway.
but if it's, the motion on the floor is to table it,
To table any
to
decision.
discuss
No, table.
later, no. The motion is to table it, period. If it gets voted to table at this time, then there is no discussion, the way I would interpret the law. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't.
If the table is not passed at this time, if that motion fails, then we continue on with discussion. I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the way I interpret it.
And I just want to say as well, the way that the item is titled is there's a resident request to discuss amending the city code, but nothing further than that, other than the discussion is what Mr. Hanson has requested.
That's all we were going to give tonight.
But the motion is to,
Explaining to make sure that everyone understands rather than just,
The recommendation that I put in the agenda was for the city council to discuss the residents' request and provide direction. I should have put to staff, because that's really the intent, was for the council to provide direction to staff of the city whether or not we want to have myself put an ordinance together right away and bring that back for consideration at a future council meeting, or whether this needs to be sent to a work session for discussion. But I think there's a motion that's been made. I think the vote needs to occur on that.
can I hear the exact motion before I vote?
Motion to table this for a work session.
So that means there is no discussion.
Yep.
No discussion by council or no discussion by anyone?
No discussion at all.
This item is tabled until the
That is the way I interpreted your motion, and so I did interpret it correctly.
The only other clarifying point I want to bring up is it's 359A16.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't read my
That is
hand
right
right.
to build fence online in the state code.
I don't, but I mean, if you, that's how you,
And that title of that code is just fences, so
you're saying you're.
I'd have to dig further. I've not read it, so I'd have to dig further into it about how it applies to the city.
I would rescind my-
Doesn't mention the city.
So that would just.
Anywhere in it?
Nope.
Whatever you.
I call for the question.
I'm not.
Just one second.
We've violated that too many.
sorry, Mr. Hanson, thank you for your patience. Thank you.
Homeowner comes in with a specific request. To me, that's not what it's all about.
Not if the motion is made to table it immediately.
Some who come in.
What difference? So what's the difference between this and the comment?
Typically, the way the agendas work is the motion that's on, or the item that's on there has to have a motion made immediately, and then discussion occurs after the motion has been made by the council.
But this isn't an action item.
Correct?
All right, well, I
I
don't,
think at the end of the day, there's a motion that's been made. There's a standing item on the agenda, so if you are the one who's presiding over the meeting. So if you would like to have him come up and speak to it, I think that's your prerogative. The motion still needs to be voted on.
okay, well, if you want to have a motion to table it and not allow Mr. Hanson to have any input tonight, and we'll do that. So, this will be a roll call vote then.
Jensen,
No.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Crusader,
Yes.
Maynard,
No.
Moore,
No.
Hannah,
Yes.
Weber.
No.
So that's a 4-3 no.
4-3.
So
Motion fails.
it's 4-3, the motion fails. So Nathan, come on up.
All right. How you guys doing? I'm Nathan Hanson. I live at 800 Pine Drive, Southwest Independence, Iowa. I'm looking to put a fence up on my property. Due to the 3-foot rule, I have the north side, both because my lot is a double lot. Due to the covenant that was in my neighborhood, I came to you guys before because I had to be adjoined. I didn't want to adjoin it, but that's what I had to do. I'd rather build a house on each one and give you guys more taxpayer money, but that's not what I could do. So now I want to put a fence up on because of the house I own next to it, 804 Pine Drive, I have a fence. I'm moving over to 800 Pine Drive, which I'm in, and I need to move my 2 dogs over. In order to have my dogs outside, I have 2 labs. You got to have them on a collar for what you guys' code is. So to have them on a collar the whole time with a leash, it's kind of hard to do with 2 labs if you ever had any labs. So I'd like to get a fence put up. So I'm actually on the east side property owner I don't have to worry about because I still own the ownership of that. West side owners are approved of it, already approved. North sides don't want to do it. One did during the fall. I should have them signed at that time. The other one doesn't want to do it due to it actually looks their property looks smaller. The other thing on there is due to, they said their safety of their kids because they have dogs. I'm going to put a black chain link fence up. That's what I have already next door. The neighbor on the adjoining property on the other side has a black chain link fence. They have dogs, and I don't know what the issue is other than that. I feel necessary is how big the property is. It's 180 foot. It's 180 foot by 3 foot that I'll be losing. That's bigger than this council room. It's over 25% of my house is built as. So as you can see, as me as a property tax, I actually pay over $40,000 worth of property taxes to the city already. I mean, to me, that property, it's going to be a lot more dollars too when I get the bill this fall. And I can already tell you, it doesn't make me like a happy camper that I have to lose 3 feet. Yes, I do agree with that. If it goes on the property line, you should have their approval. I have no problem with that. But 3 foot, to me, is a little bit too much. I mean, I could see a foot, 6 inches. I mean, normally that's what I usually do, even though, I mean, I have it surveyed. We go 6 inches in just to cover, to make sure you don't have any issues with the boundary line. So with the issue, also it's on there. I mean, I can tell you there's many things that are in, I don't want to go tit for tat with other people that goes on in the neighborhood, but there's, I mean, it says hedges and stuff that's on there. You can't be within 3 foot of the property line. That's not being followed. I mean, I can tell you other things aren't being followed.
So if I can clarify there, are you talking about city code or are you talking about covenants and restrictions?
City code. Because in your city code, I have it on my phone.
You put a fence around the property line though, so when you go to weed eat it, you're in the neighbor's yard.
Correct. And I'll tell you right now, the person that's adjoined to my 804 property, maybe that's the reason why they don't want to do it either, is because they don't like to weed eat. I weed eat it for them. Because to me, just the way it looks. That's the same thing. I'd take care of it was there. I mean, I talked about putting black mesh up. I've talked to one of the neighbors too about maybe they pay half, we pay half on a vinyl, like a vinyl fence. But then then it comes into where you got state law that says what happens if the fence gets blown out or there's damage, who pays for it? Does the other person say no, then the other person is responsible? Then the other process is you talk to the county assessor, where's the excess of that fence being put on? Is it being put on half of it? Is it being put on the full of it? With the setback, if I did go like 6 inches, I'm the one that's paying for 100%. They're not. If it's
You can't stand on 6 inches of grass and weed eat and be in your own yard.
Well, I get that. But that is still my own property though. There's no fence on the other side, but I do get what you're saying is if they want to put a fence up on their side.
If you go at the property line, you're on their property and your
Sure.
property both.
But you
So
have
for
to
you to
have a
weed eat-
signature though. You have to have a
For you
signature.
to weed eat on both sides, you're in their yard.
Well, you don't weed eat on both sides, you only weed
If
eat
it's your
on your
fence, you
side.
weed eat on both sides.
I have to with mine.
Supposed to.
I agree with that
Black
100%.
chain.
You're the one that wanted the fence. You should take care of it both
I had a
sides.
neighbor, I had to weed eat all the time because they didn't.
My neighbors made that clear
I
when I
didn't
put
like
it
that
in.
route.
Sure.
My neighbor weed eats on
I get
his
that
side and I
100%.
weed eat on mine.
Yep. I'm a pretty
Sometimes.
reasonable person, but when it comes down to certain
you
stipulations,
buy-
when it comes down to the.
when you
the property,
buy
I
a
get the signature.
house and
Hold on,
you didn't
we've got a lot of
I think every
conversations
property
going
should
on.
Be able to do what I need to do, but there's people that's got like 12-foot evergreens that are right up against in our neighborhood. That's within the property line. Some of it actually goes over the property line. I mean, you got people that do paver displays in the very corner of the lot. They do it just for like a waterfall or whatever. That's on the property line. Should I have a say in that? I mean, there's different things that it goes with. So I'm just looking at it too from my point is, I have pets. I'm sure you guys got pets. I'm just trying to get my dogs over to my neighborhood, or my house. So that's it.
Any questions for him?
No questions, but when I saw this, I didn't realize the ordinance said 3 feet, but I myself, if I own a chunk of land, I want to be able to use my land. If you have to put your fence 3 feet from the property line, then you have to go over the fence to weed eat on both sides because the fence is yours. And I think property line is the way to go myself.
The other part of that too is say if you do bring the fence in 3 foot, what happens if the other person mows that side of that property line for a certain amount of time?
Exactly.
The law changes where that person then owns that property.
A fence line after a certain period of time becomes the border line.
Correct.
Sorry, Nathan, you said you have 804, which is where you...
I have 804 too.
Right, 804, and what was it, 800?
800, yep, which
But
was
that's-
802, used to be 800 and 802.
Gotcha.
When I came against, from the council, I had the covenant over there that was done back in 2013, I think it was, or 2003, I can't remember exactly which one, I think it was amended in 2013, that there was like 6 or 7 double lots locations over there. Mine, and then the double lot across the street from where I live that still doesn't have a house on it, was the last 2 double lots that have not been built on. They were never combined when it was put together.
Gotcha.
So that's why I had to do a lot combination agreement beforehand. That's why I got rid of the 802 and the 800.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions for him? Okay.
Thank you guys very much for your time.
Yep, thank you.
Appreciate your patience.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for your time.
Is there a discussion on this tonight, or we discuss?
Well, we can have discussion if anybody wants to have a discussion, but we don't have it on here for an action item.
Yeah, right.
This is just informational purposes.
You can still make a motion, though. I mean, the recommendation that we put at the bottom doesn't govern as far as whether or not a motion can be made, so to speak. I mean, the council, anybody can make a motion about it.
Now, at this time, since we had the open discussion, I would make a motion that we table it until we have time during a work session to discuss it.
Has our code guy got any?
One thing I would, well, maybe to clarify this one thing he was talking about, and Ralph, you mentioned it, adverse possession is a whole legal term. It's not as black and white as what was brought out here.
Adverse possession is very, very,
It's a pain.
If you have property that you own, that there's a fence or anything else that allows another person to be using that part of the property, and then, because that's open and everybody knows that, so you've put this fence up, so you've created a boundary that doesn't include all of your property. And then, so everybody knows it, they're on notice of it, I think I was 12 years, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're probably right.
So even though you're paying
There's
tax.
a time frame typically.
Yeah, there's a specific time
And
frame.
and to be clear, it's that way in every state. It's
Yeah,
not
every
defined.
state has adverse
a
possession.
timeline for adverse possession.
But the problem with adverse possession in this situation is even though he's paying the tax on it, at the end of the time period, the neighbor can go in and get a deed for that particular property, and all of a sudden, that property belongs to the neighbor and not him any longer.
And now the fence
Absolutely.
is on the property line.
And the fence is on the
Absolutely.
property line. So,
I don't think it's that black and white.
It's pretty close.
Process.
well, I've litigated this issue in Iowa already 3 times, so.
It's a process, but
It is.
but once it's done and the order is put in, it's done.
I had that problem with one of our properties in Arizona, dealt with the fence line. And then when he asked, and I'm not sure how Iowa is, but in Arizona, if you had wind damage or something, as you stood and faced your fence, the fence on the right-hand side, half of that fence is yours, and the left hand is the neighbor's. Is that the way it is in Iowa?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
That's why-
I think that's pretty universal in most all
359,
states.
Iowa Code 359 seems to allude to that in one of the sections that's in it, that it's half and half, yeah.
So did my motion die of lack of second?
Well, the question, if you don't make a motion, I'm going to put it on the agenda for August 25th to and have a discussion with an ordinance in front of you for a first reading of the ordinance.
Well, I made a motion to table
second it.
until the work session.
Okay, so now we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion with regard to the tabling, and so it goes to the work session? Okay, then that would be a roll call vote
So,
on that.
can I ask one question?
Sure.
So you put the fence on the property line. Mike puts the fence on the property line, we're neighbors. I don't like him. I don't want him in my yard weed eating. So he doesn't weed eat or whatever. I don't like the weeds growing 10 feet deep either. So I call the code guy and say, make this guy come cut his weeds down. I mean,
It becomes a question, it's a civil matter then, of where
Hold on.
is the property line.
I think that's a great discussion to have at the work session.
I think so too, because there's more.
If we're having a work session on it.
sounds good.
If it passes, if the motion passes.
Okay, so this is a roll call vote, and if you're voting yes on this, you're voting that you want to have a discussion at a work session and not bring this directly to a first reading on the 25th. Okay?
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Crusader,
Yes.
Maynard,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Jensen.
No.
Okay, so that passes, so it's tabled, and this would then come on for the work session on September 2nd.
Second, yeah.
So there won't be a draft ordinance?
Not on the 25th of August, no.
No.
But for that meeting on the 2nd, we can have a draft prepared, yes.
Okay.
I mean, it's a very simple modification, but the question is going to, well, yeah, I can put something together. The question is going to be whether you want to remove it entirely or whether you want to reduce it. I've also emailed the city attorney and asked him to tell me the implications of 359A16 compared to our code. Because if 359A16 supersedes what the city has, then this is a moot point, and it doesn't matter what our code says, the fence will go on the property line.
Well, there are other cities in Iowa that have different restrictions, but usually it's within 1 foot or 2 foot of the sidewalk or the street right-of-way. Usually that's where it comes up in play in other cities' ordinances. It doesn't come up in play exactly like this, like what we're talking about that I've seen. Okay. So we'll be talking about this on.
So if the city, I just want to clarify, so if our lawyer says that we got to follow the state mandate, then we'll have it at our next meeting.
Which we have to.
We would still have, yes, because the ordinance would need to be updated in order to follow what the state code says in that scenario.
Okay.
I'm curious to see because he was involved in some of this conversation at the beginning, and 359A16 was not brought up, so
Okay.
I'm curious to see what comes out of that.
Okay. All right, so when we move to resolutions, item number 11, I need a motion to approve and authorize the mayor to sign a resolution that approves the development agreement with Indy Storage LLC, authorizing annual appropriation tax increment payments and pledging certain tax increment revenues to the payment of the agreement.
So moved. Second.
Okay, so we have had this at work sessions. We have had other portions of this that have already passed. This is the development agreement part of it with Indy Storage, and there's further discussion with regard to this. Okay, hearing none, this will be a roll call vote then.
Hannah,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Maynard,
Yes.
Crusader,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Okay, it passes 7-0. Next, we move to item number 12. I need a motion to approve and authorize the mayor to sign a resolution that agrees to provide and make available up to $59,254.22 in local monies to meet the minimum local match requirement for the mitigation grant application.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so this is, sorry,
Storm sirens.
this is which?
Storm sirens. This is the.
Oh, the sirens. This is the siren, the hazard mitigation sirens. So this is for how many again?
10.
So this is 10 with Independence total cost being $395,028.10. So this is our share of that $395,000 in terms of.
15% is the required match the city has to put in. The money for this is part of the debt issuance that we did in 2020, well, just a couple months ago, a month ago.
So is there further discussion with respect to this then?
I do want to point out, this is in partnership with Oline.
Yeah, how did that?
We're applying for a combined grant between both cities, because when we talked through this with the state, they said if you can partner with other organizations, whether that's in your county or not, it looks better for the scoring purposes, and they feel like we have a better chance of getting the award if we do it that way.
Well done.
No.
So,
My question on this then is that 10 sirens for Independence?
yes.
And the 609,000 is
That's
Independence?
total.
Or that's the whole of Owine and Independence combined?
Right, so the 395 is the 10 sirens for Independence. The 609 is Oline and Independence all together.
Okay, I just want to
So-
make sure that I
Yeah.
read that correctly.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, further discussion on that? Okay, hearing none, this is a roll call vote.
Moore,
Yes.
Maynard.
Yes.
Pursader.
Yes.
O'Laughlin.
Yes.
Jensen.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Hannah.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Next, we move to item number 13. I need a motion to approve and authorize the mayor to sign a resolution that approves pay application number 3 in the amount of $176,859.51 to Eastern Iowa Excavating and Concrete LLC for the 8th Avenue Northwest IPF Area Stormwater Improvements Project.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Crawford's already signed off that this work has been completed to this stage of the payments. So they're recommending that we make this third, number 3 payment. Is there anybody further discussion with regard to this? Okay, hearing none, this would also be a roll call vote.
Maynard.
Yes.
Pursader.
Yes.
O'Laughlin.
Yes.
Jensen.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Hannah.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Okay, next we move to the reports from the different department heads. Remember, this is not their entire department report. This is just the report itself where they're giving you numbers, calculations. So start with number 14. This is the Police Department monthly report. Anybody have any questions with regard?
Yeah, I had a couple questions for Brian.
Brian? You want to state your name and your rank?
What's your name?
Title, right?
And your badge number was-
101 now.
Yeah.
Taking me some time.
On page 83, I see you have test drone flight, but there's nothing on there. So if they're just, is that something they have to fly at the airport to have to get that?
So on the test drone flight, if that was on our report, then that came directly from the calls for service that were generated. We don't, as a department, do any test drone flighting. That would all come through emergency management or the county. So I'm going to guess those numbers that you see get imported directly from our calls for service that come through. So I'm going to guess that a calls for service got entered into a drone flight.
It's all zero. I just wondered, because every morning I see a drone in the air at 4:30 in the morning. And I'm just kind of wondering,
Yeah, it wouldn't be ours. And
The
if we-
the categories that are created on here are part of the system that you guys use.
Yeah.
okay.
So yeah, that wouldn't, if it's zero, yeah, we haven't, but if you're seeing a drone up at 4 o'clock in the morning, that's not ours, and I don't know if emergency management.
It's almost every day
or the
consistently,
county
Monday
have
through
been running
Friday.
one.
I can't believe nobody else has said anything about it, but
I'm not up at that time.
Easy.
It's just a hair before I get up, so.
I'll look when I'm up there.
and it's quick. I mean, literally, when I back out of my driveway, I can almost see it. And I go to the Wellness Center at that time, and by the time I get to the Wellness Center and get out of the car, it's down below the hospital.
They're making sure you get
And it's
there.
Monday through Friday if the weather's good. Today was crappy, so it wasn't out today. I don't know.
I
Interesting.
don't know who's flying that.
I'd love to know whose drone it is.
Other questions for Brian?
Yeah, it looks
with
big. One
regard to
other
this?
question for you, or thing to
Go ahead,
say,
Deb, I'm sorry.
is I thank you for the police escorts you do for the funerals, because they did the one Friday, and if it wouldn't have been them, it would have been a mess with the bridge being partially closed.
I
Thank
think
you.
That's a big thing we've done for several years.
I know, yeah, but it was really great that day.
Definitely doing it.
Thank you.
Other questions with regard to the numbers for the police department for Brian? Okay.
The only, it's not a question at all, it's just a statement for, our citizens. According to this, you had a total of 288 calls. So you guys are averaging over 9 calls a day, and I don't think, because I hear some people go, well, we got way too many policemen and stuff. Well, when you figure, your shifts and downtime and everything like that, when you're averaging 9 calls a day on an average, that's a lot of calls for a community this size. You know, so
It's been the
thank you
trend.
for everything you've done.
You're welcome.
Okay, thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Okay, next we'll move to item number 15, sorry, that's the fire department monthly reports. Is there anybody have questions with regard to those numbers?
They're busy too.
They're very busy.
Okay.
You'll see, John, I don't know, Chief Butler or Deputy Chief Butler, if you want to talk about this or not, but you'll notice on the report that there's medical assist EMS crew on there. There's 4 calls on there now. Those are our first responder calls when we're responding to help them. Is that correct?
Those have been calls that we've assisted on with EMS, yes.
Yeah.
Do you have to be a EMT to assist on those?
We are not participating at that level on these calls.
Okay,
We're just assisting
sure.
medical.
But we,
Any other questions, you have to direct to the dog and the dog.
That's right.
but we do have
First responder status.
first responder status number 1 and number 2. We do have
I want to say, again,
Eight.
Deputy Chief Butler, correct me if I'm wrong, I want to say 6 EMT and 2 paramedic. Does that sound,
I can't confirm that number.
pardon?
Blake said
I think it's in that neighborhood, but we do have quite a few members that are helping with that, and we really appreciate that.
Okay, next one would be 16, the building department monthly reports. Does anybody have any questions on that, on those numbers? None? Okay, then we'll move to the item number 17, which is the ILPT reports. Anybody have any questions with regard to those numbers or those reports? Okay, hearing none, then we'll move to council member report. Start with Brett.
Nothing, Mayor.
Deb?
Nothing.
Ralph?
Only one thing for all the people out there listening, spread the word. If you ever wanted to get some of your council people and the mayor wet, this Friday, meet me on Main. You got three council members here and the mayor are all going to be there.
And it's a $1 per ball or 7 balls for $5.
Yep. And the money that's raised through the dunk tank, throwing us in the water, will all go towards our 4th of July celebration next year, which we have got a lot of fantastic things planned and being worked on for it.
Matt?
You on that committee?
I really don't have anything. I'm sad to see that this is the last year for the BBQ,
Right.
but other than that, I don't really have anything.
No, Mayor, thank you.
Mike?
To reiterate what Ralph said, meet me on Main Friday night. Let's have a good turnout.
Before 8:30.
Before
Before 8:30, yeah, that's right, you're up at 8:30, aren't you?
I'm at 8:30.
Are you 8:30?
I have nothing, thank
It's
you.
nice and cold.
Okay, let's move then to city manager. Matt?
The only thing I have for the council is we posted a part-time position for the airport today for office help. That's related to the transition away from PNN. That person will be part-time out there to help cover the office when Brett is out for meetings or out doing other things so that we have staffing out there. And again, it's part-time, so.
Okay, then I don't have anything. I was going to talk about the Meet Me on Main also. I'm up at 6:30, from 6:30 to 7, so anybody that wants to come dunk me, that's the time period, but you got to have a strong arm and accurate arm to do it. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to dismiss then.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 7-0. We're now stand adjourned.